Okay, recording.
All right. And so today, welcome to the CypherCon podcast. And today, whether you're watching the podcast in audio form or video form, we have the video link. If you're listening to it in audio form, check out the video link to the YouTube. And we have some visuals, but you'll be able to just listen to the podcast if you want to do it that way as well. And today we have Sudesh Kannan, or Dr. K, as we most call him, and he's been training people in mindfulness since 2007. He's been practicing mindfulness and meditation for 30 plus years and is the author of more than 25 publications and co-author of the book, How to Beat the Heart Disease Epidemic among South Asians. What is most amazing about Dr. K is his energetic and generous spirit. He meets you where you're at, and he helps the students through their pain and anxiety through love and kindness. And I got to know Dr. K over the last couple of weeks in preparation for this, and he's really been wonderful to work with. And he's got just such a deep knowledge in meditation, and he really does treat it with love and kindness. So, many of us think about meditation as a new age way to relax, but it's way more than that. It goes a lot deeper. And meditation helps change the way you think and transforms your mind into a more positive, calm, and resilient version of yourself. And today on the podcast, we'll talk about how each of us have experienced that for ourselves and how you can do it as well. And Dr. K is a cybersecurity professional interested in social psychology, neuroscience of cybersecurity. He's an adjunct professor at Graduate Cyber Studies program at University of Maryland Global Campus. And welcome to the podcast, Dr. K.
Hey, thank you, Kyle. Thank you for that kind introduction.
So I thought maybe a good place to start, you had planned on doing a presentation at CypherCon called Brain Hacking, Train Your Brain for Love, Joy, and Peace. And I thought maybe that'd be a good place to start and talk about, what you were going to talk about in that presentation before it got canceled due to COVID and everything. And I was wondering if you could talk about it in the context of what we're seeing in the world right now. I mean, obviously, we've kind of been hit with a lot of unprecedented things right now. COVID, obviously, for one, we are changing the way that we live every single day because of the pandemic. And also what we're seeing right now worldwide as far as protests and inequality. And I'm wondering if you could talk about, training your brain for love in what we're seeing right now. So can you just tell us a little bit about what your talk is and in the context of what we're seeing in the world today?
Excellent. Thanks, Kyle. And so, let's first talk about what Jen, Darren, and I, we are cybersecurity analysts and cybersecurity professionals, and we have a deep interest in understanding the human psyche. And we had a whole bunch of tools that we were going to demonstrate. So the thing is, meditation is shown like this exotic thing, right? Where it's an exotic art from Asia or something like that. The basic meditation skills are very amenable. We can train anybody on that. So think of the human brain like a supercomputer, and I'll talk more about that. But it's love, joy, and peace. We can train our mind to get there. And the reality of life is it is a very hard life. Okay, a lot of the challenges that we face are difficult problems to solve. They're not easy. And sure enough, you can't just meditate these problems away. But here's what meditation does for us. It helps us reach in a state where we can realize how we are unique in our abilities, but we are very, very similar, right? The heart that beats in you is very identical to the heart that beats inside me. Your brain is very similar to my brain. You have a lot of challenges in your life, and the way you react and respond may be slightly different from the way I would respond and react, but we are all in it together. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's where we are. So today what I wanted to do is I wanted to show how the brain, right? The brain has evolved, the human brain has evolved over 1.5 million years. From the ape brain to the human brain, right? And in the past 300,000 years, we've been Homo sapiens, right? Our brain has developed uniquely. And till 10,000 years ago, we were hunters and gatherers. So our brain is designed for that. It's designed for survival. It is designed for thinking and all that. And so we have a lot of programs in our brain that are related to anger, fear, etc. And the thing is, we have to be careful to realize that that's not, we don't necessarily have to be in that default state all the time. And so we were going to talk about that, and we're going to show some simple devices how to get to that state. And so today I wanted to give you some samples of that demonstration without the devices, of course, and give some exercises. And hopefully, if you are listening to this podcast while you're driving, don't do the exercises while driving. My request is that's not a safe thing to do, even if you keep your eyes open, because it will take you to a different state. But definitely listen to those exercises when you pulled your car in a parking lot in a safe place or at home. Does that make sense, Kyle?
Yes, and yeah, very important disclaimer: do not meditate while driving.
Excellent. So what I'm going to do is I want to show how the brain is. So would you mind doing an experiment with me, Kyle?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay, so sit comfortably, feet flat on the ground, and keep your eyes open, and describe to the people who are listening to us on the radio what you see on the screen.
So we have a solar system. We see, we have the sun way on the left, and then we have Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, relatively close to the sun. And then you have the asteroid belt, Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, all spread out quite a bit more, with Pluto being way on the right side of the screen.
Excellent. So unless you're an astronomy buff, right? Most of us are used to these almost concentric circles of all the planets, right?
Yep.
And I'm going to show you two things, right? I'm going to show you focus and awareness, right? So you're going to be focused on this. So imagine you're going to sit on the sun and then be aware of that breath, right? As you're breathing, you're standing on the sun, okay? And the first jump you're going to make is 1 astronomical unit. That means you will get to Earth from the sun. And that's about 150 million kilometers, okay, approximately. And so it will take you 8 minutes to go from the sun to the Earth. So visualize you making that jump in 8 minutes and then coming back. Are you back in the sun?
Yes.
Okay. Now be aware of the breath going in and out, and be aware of the gap between you and the screen. Okay. Now, Mars takes about 12 minutes. So Mars, Venus, Earth, they're all in about 12 minutes, right? The next jump to Jupiter is 43 minutes. So visualize going from the sun to Jupiter, 43 minutes, and then coming back. And Jupiter, I call the godfather or the bully of the solar system. It's one of the largest. It's all the planets put together twice of that or something like that. It's a huge planet. So that takes 43 minutes. Now go back from the sun. Now we're going to jump into Saturn. Now it's nearly double the distance. 1 hour and 20 minutes, 9.6 AU. Are you able to visualize in your head that the vast distances between these planets?
I'm able to extrapolate and think what it would be like, but I don't know if I really have a real grasp on what that means. You know what I mean?
Okay. So, so it literally means like, right? If it were to just take you 43 minutes to drive from Milwaukee to the border of Chicago, right? Down, the border of Wisconsin and Milwaukee. It's about what, a 45-minute drive,
Yeah,
right?
that's about
Probably,
45 minutes. Yeah.
right? So to get to downtown, it's probably going to take you 1.5 hours from where you are, right? So that's the distance of Saturn, right? Then let's go to Uranus. You're jumping from the sun to Uranus, and that's double the distance, 2.4 hours, right? 2 hours and 40 minutes. Then you go back to the sun, and now you make the next jump to Neptune. And remember, in your mind, you can see that your brain is making those calculations, and you see yourself visually going. Do you see that jump that you're making to Neptune and coming back visually in your head?
Yes. Yes. And I'm passing all the other planets.
Planets as you're doing that, right? Yeah, theoretically, they'll not be all in the straight line, but.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And then look at the distance to Pluto, right? It takes 5 hours and 20 minutes. So if you're in Milwaukee, imagine driving, and within 8 minutes you reached Earth, right? But it takes you 5 hours and 28 minutes to reach Pluto. And so there are two things I want to show you. One is I was focusing on the planets, right? But I hope you are also aware that your brain is doing all these calculations.
Mm.
And what about the feelings? Were you relaxed when you were going through this? Were you curious? What were the feelings that were going through when I did this exercise?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I was relaxed. I was, what's the right word for it? Maybe, I was trying to visualize and, go through and listen to your directions. So I guess I was thinking about the planets and trying to do it. And I'm trying to think about what feeling is associated with that. Maybe a little bit of anxiety because I'm not a great visualizer, so I have that going for me maybe.
Okay.
So yeah.
But were you able to visualize driving to the border of Wisconsin? Or
Yeah, that's something that I can. I've done that many times, so I know that one, right?
Right. And so there also was a curiosity saying, where the hell is Dr. K going with that?
Yes, there's that too.
Right. So here's the thing. We all are endowed with a super brain, okay? And here's what makes our brains so amazing, right? In the 1.5 million years of the brain development, we have 3 skills that we developed, okay? One was the use of hands and make tools, because we were apes that could stand on 2 feet, right? So we had 2 hands free. So we could throw objects and then we could make tools with our hands, right? The second thing was the social brain, the fact that we deal with social people. And then the third part of the brain is the language skills, right? So we have a supercomputer in our head. And there's a part of the brain called the prefrontal cortex that's developed, that's compared to all the other apes, ours is the largest. And what the prefrontal cortex does is it kind of figures out a lot of the planning for the future, etc. happens. So here's the problem. The default option for our brain is regrets and worries. Why? Because in the prefrontal cortex, I can ask you to say, hey, do you remember the last time you goofed up? And I'm willing to bet your mind will be able to remember when you made a mistake last, right? And that's the part of the brain that it estimates that. So we play a lot of time, regrets and worries. Those are the default programs. Hide and react to strong feelings. What do I mean by that? Let's assume you have a boss or somebody who's very important to you and you get very angry with them. You don't yell back at them. Why don't you yell back at them, Kyle?
Because it's inappropriate. You don't want to get fired.
right? You don't want to get fired, right? So there's a brain part of your brain that doesn't want to deal with that. But guess what? Those feelings are deep inside. Then there's an overactive inner critic. And these are the most common uh, programs that we keep running. And they are default. They're basically default. And you can see where this is going. Now, I'm not saying these things are bad, right? Sometimes you have to hide your strong feelings. Sometimes you have to react to your strong feelings. And whole idea about meditation and mindfulness is if you can start becoming aware of the program that you're running, you're likely to respond better to it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. And that's something that I've noticed, with my practice. And
Yeah, so tell me more. I was curious about that. How did you get started meditating? And tell us a little bit more about how that came about.
yeah, I started probably about 5 years ago,
Okay.
and I was interested in it. I started hearing about it from different people, podcasts and stuff like that. And I heard about Headspace, and Headspace is an app that got
Yep.
me into it. And what got me into it is it was this take 10 for 10 challenge, and it was 10 minutes a day for 10 days. And if it didn't change your life, they're like, well, then don't buy the app. But if you are finding a significant difference, like, you can continue to do this and really build on your practice. And so I did it for 10 days. I'm like, all right, I might as well just try this out. I'll try this out. I'll try it. And so I did, 10 minutes, and Headspace does a really good job of explaining meditation and how to meditate, and like kind of basically watch your thoughts as you are focusing on your breath, but like don't try to interact with your thoughts, just notice them, kind of a thing. And so so I did that. And what I noticed, the biggest thing I noticed right away is I was just a lot more calm, and I reacted to things a lot differently. I wouldn't get upset as much if someone did something that, normally would have triggered me, and I'd, get upset with someone for doing something stupid at work or something like that. And I was just like, I can't control that, but I can control the way that I react to that. And that was a big aha moment for me, is getting that awareness and being able to be aware in all aspects of, my life. And so, yeah, that's what really worked great for me. What about you? How did you get into it?
So that's a good question. So when I was 16 years old, I was in high school, and we had mandatory yoga. And mandatory yoga for a teenager, anything mandatory for a teenager means we are not going to follow it, right? And when we started doing the yoga, I saw all my friends could sit cross-legged and they could turn themselves into pretzels, and I could barely sit properly, right? So I hated the yoga class. I hated the yoga teacher. One fine day, at the end of the yoga class, he did something called Shavasana. Shavasana is basically literally the dead body pose. So the instructor made us lie down flat on the ground, and then he made us imagine, he walked us through the basic stuff, right? Focus on your breath, focus on your body, relax the body, all that. Then he took us to a visualization exercise. He made us imagine that we were in a valley with a river running through it, very calm, very relaxing. And here's what he did that was crazy at that moment, right? He imagined that there's a funeral pyre. In India, we don't bury bodies, right? We cremate bodies. So imagine a funeral pyre, and he put our bodies there and said, your physical body no longer exists, there's only spirit. And that spirit fills the entire valley.
Mm.
And Kyle, that really, I get goosebumps even now that it's been 30, 40 years since I did that. And I still get the goosebumps in my body. And it was this sense of peace and relaxation. And like any teenager, right, I thought that was a cool experience, filed it and forgot about it. And then 15, 20 years later, I was in University of Virginia doing my PhD. As you know, a doctorate can be very, very stressful. And I was in a stage where I was totally stressed out about it. And at that time, John Kabat-Zinn, this is the guy is the god of mindfulness. And I read his book, and I'll put that book in the reference section, and literally changed my life. I started practicing meditation again. I finished my PhD within a few months, and I'm not saying the meditation was the only thing that helped me, but it helped me put in a resourceful state, right? And I did the PhD, and then it became a regular part of my life. Does that answer your
Wow.
question?
Yeah, no, that's interesting about the visualization meditation that you went through, and it had that profound of effect on you, And was that your first time experimenting with meditation?
That was really the first time. I had no
Wow.
clue what meditation was. And then, of course, when I was in my mid 20s, then I went back to the practice. And of course, there's so many techniques now, there's so many tools. But visualization is definitely one powerful tool where you
Wow.
can, um,
And I liked what you mentioned earlier. You mentioned that you can't meditate your problems away, and I was wondering if you could speak a little bit more to that, because I think people think that, okay, I'm going to meditate and things are going to go away. I'm going to feel way better, and it's not been my experience that that's the case. But through this practice, I'm able to be more aware of what I'm feeling in this moment, and then be better able to react. And I'm not perfect by any means. I remember
nobody is.
I just had I remember we were talking a couple of weeks ago, and like soon after that, my wife and I got in a fight, and I'm like, I'm not like, because I was telling you, I'm like, yeah, this has really changed my life. And I'm just like, I don't want to feel this way. And so we were able to talk it out, but it's a practice, right? So it's
Right.
a constant.
It's a wise man who says, "Hey, listen, you know, I may be at fault here. Let me take that step back." Right, and
Yeah.
that's definitely a challenge. That's definitely a challenge. No, I think it's great. So let me share my model, right? My favorite model. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So for those people who are not watching that, I'm basically comparing ethical hacking with brain hacking 101, right? So what is ethical hacking? For those of you, I'm sure there's going to be some of my students who listen to this and who may not know cybersecurity. But ethical hacking is when you, as the good guy, hack a system to find the flaws, right? And there are 4 or 5 steps. The reconnaissance, where you go ahead and check out the system, right? You walk around the building, you check the website. There are a lot of tools available that you check out for some areas where there are vulnerabilities, right? For example, in a window, you're going around the window and you're going around the building and you see some open windows or open doors, unlocked doors, right? That's a typical. Scanning is very specific. That means you are now trying to get into the system, right? And so there are a lot of tools available. We look for open ports, and there are a whole bunch of tools available there. And then and we gain access, right? Gaining access is very straightforward. Well, it's not straightforward, but there are many ways to get into it. In some cases, you send an email, and then somebody clicks on the wrong link, and then they give you access to it, or you find the username and password and things like that. So a number of ways. Maintaining access is different. Once you get in there, you get in as a user, you escalate privileges, or you go into multiple accounts, and then you've got free access to the system. And the last part of it is reporting. So then you write a formal report saying, hey, these are the common flaws I found. And then we talk about mitigation and transformation. So any organization that has a good cybersecurity program has a good ethical hacking. That means these are the good guys. Kyle, is that a good explanation of ethical hacking?
Yeah, yeah. And I like this analogy between ethical hacking and brain hacking. Yeah.
Right. So in brain hacking, right, the first part of it is awareness, right? So for example, you were able to see that you were thinking that, right? And you were aware of the visualization and things like that, right? Most of the time we mix up our awareness and thinking, and we need to be able to separate that. So when you are having a fight with your spouse, you are able to take that step back and say, hey, I'm losing my control there. Does that make sense? And I tell the
Yes.
difference, right? When people say I'm sad, I say, take a step back and say, I'm feeling sad, right? So there's a difference between I'm sad is the identity is sadness, but I'm feeling sad is that awareness that you're feeling sad. Is that a good example of awareness, Kyle?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it's figuring out where you're at and finding, and I know a lot, especially for for men, it's hard to like be able to like identify those feelings
Right.
sometimes, right?
Right. To
So it takes
separate those.
practice.
Yep. The second part is mindfulness, right? And mindfulness is this awareness, but it comes with no judgment. You're aware of it, and you're saying, oh, is this acknowledgement? I'm going through a tough time, or I'm going through this feeling, right? You're able to not judge yourself. You're not saying, I'm a stupid idiot for not being able to control my anger, or I'm feeling angry and I shouldn't feel angry. That's not the deal. You're just observing, Dr. K is feeling that pain, or he is feeling sad. The next part is gaining access, love, joy, and peace. And hopefully, right, today's session, I'll show you some examples of love, joy, and peace. We'll do some short meditation sessions, and I'll give you
Awesome.
that. But the next level is the equivalent of maintaining access, right? Is cultivating core. And this is connection, optimism, resilience. And talk to you more about that. But this is like, there are a number of tools that are available, right? So accessing love, joy, and peace, there are a lot of, your apps. You can use your apps. There are some biofeedback devices that you can use that train you there. But they themselves won't let you go to the next step, the core. The core is connection, optimism, resilience, and energy. And I'll talk to you. So when you practice meditation regularly, you are building some of these characteristics. And then the next and the last step is living a life with purpose and meaning, right? A lot of the time, 90% or 95% of the time, we are all obsessed with ourselves, right? Oh, I got this problem, I have, right? But living a life with purpose and meaning is living beyond that, right? So, for example, you're clearly purpose driven, Kyle, with the podcast. Tell me more what this podcast means to you.
Well,
Because
I mean,
clearly you're putting all these energies in this, right? You're not making millions out of this, right? You're doing this
right.
as an
No,
act of love.
yeah, I
Tell me
mean,
more.
yeah. So the biggest thing for me is I have jumped to the hacker community, and I just love to have conversations like this with so many interesting and super smart people, just for having the conversation, in itself. And I like to share that with others, and whether or not they listen to it or like it or whatever, at least I had that conversation for myself and gaining the knowledge. Like that's the main driver for me is having really interesting conversations with super smart people like yourself, Dr. K. That's a
Thank you.
drives me.
Thank you. You're a kind man. You're a kind man. So here's the first one, right? Mindfulness practice is this relaxed focus, um, engaged, no judging, and it's an active process. Relaxed focus is what I told you, right? Can you see the screen now?
Yes.
You're seeing the screen. If you're, watching an object and you're aware of the gap between the screen and you, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And you're aware of the surroundings. You're aware of the sound of my voice, and then there's no judging, right? You're not saying, hey, that Dr. K's Indian accent is hard to follow, or he's speaking too fast, right? Let go that judgment. And then it's an active process. That means your mind drifts away, and then you bring it back. And I have many students who will come say, oh, Dr. K, the whole class, my mind was drifting away. I'm like, you are aware that your mind is drifting away, right? That's a big step.
Mm.
Most people are not even aware of that, right? And then you bring your mind back. And we'll do an exercise on that. But here's the next step. If you do this regularly, what can you do? Can you see the core slide?
Yes.
The core slide is connection. The C stands for connection, compassion, courage, right? These are things, it may not solve your problem, but regular meditation and mindfulness will get you in a higher state for ability to look through the friends, right? So, for example, the equality, right? I got friends who are anti-police and they want police defunding and all that stuff. And then I got other people who are, totally for the police and saying, hey, we had to be compassionate to the police. And here's the thing, if you are in a place of compassion, right, you're able to see both sides. right? You have to understand that 99.9% of the policemen are doing the best they are, and now it's a tough job for them to get back to their home. They had to be safe, right? I got friends who are policemen, and their wives and their spouses worry about them. Are they going to come back safely? So we had to have that compassion. I have African American family friends who advise their children, 15-year-old, 16-year-old sons, hey, if you get stopped by the policeman, these are the things you're supposed to do, which many of us don't do, right? We take it for granted. So you have to feel compassion for them also. It's a very small person. And that's what meditation does, is it helps us make that connection and compassion, right? Optimism, right? For example, yes, right now the world is in a pretty scary situation, right? But this is not the first time we have gone through a thing like this, in the sense that we have World War II, right? World War II extended for six, 7 years in some countries, right? And it impacted the whole part of the world, and buildings were destroyed. I mean, I've gone to Germany where towns were completely razed by bombing, right? Or in Japan where, two cities were completely eliminated with the bomb, right? But everything came back. And that's the point I'm trying to tell you, is that we have that resilience, right? We are a stronger humanity for these challenges and how we fight them. And there's a lot of optimism there and energy. The energy also, right, it's a mental state. Oftentimes we come back, right? We are sad, we are tired, right? I'll come back after a long day, and my wife will say, "Can you do the dishes?" And I'll say, "No, honey, I'm very tired. I worked all day." And then my friend Barry will call me and say, "Hey, I got 2 tickets for the Star Wars movie. Do you want to go with me?" And suddenly I'm energized and go, right? Where did the energy come from?
Yeah.
Can you relate to that, Kyle?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's the things that you want to do light you up, right?
Right. So oftentimes, right, when you say you don't have the energy, it's often it's a mental state, and that's where meditation helps you, right? Even do a 5-minute meditation. So coming back to that, right? So this is where I am. Like, you cultivate that core, right, and then you transform your life. And there are tools available at every stage, but the foundation is the mindfulness. And today, that's all we're going to do. We're going to try a couple of things. Does that sound like a good summary so far?
Yeah, sounds great.
Would you like to try a meditation now?
Sure, let's do the meditation. And again, if you are driving, you can pause this and come back to it when you're pulled over somewhere or you're in a quiet spot where you can take the meditation.
Okay, excellent. For our for the people who are listening to it, can you read what's on the slide and describe the slide to them?
So it says focus and awareness exercise. So then there's 3 bullet points: awareness, relaxation, and joy. And you see a path going through the woods on the right side.
It's beautiful, right? Green, and it's beautiful woods. Okay.
Yes.
So go ahead, sit comfortably, keep your palms on the side, relax your shoulders, keep your eyes open. And I'm going to teach you a very simple 3-step relaxation process, right? So say with me, breath 1 is awareness.
Breath 1 is awareness.
So what are you aware? Are you aware of the gap between the slide, the screen, and you?
Yes.
What sounds are you aware of around you?
I can hear the motors of my computer.
The cooling.
And I can hear the breeze outside slightly.
Excellent. Can you feel where your hands are touching your lap or wherever they are, the armrest?
Yes.
So this is the foundation, right? Breath 1 is awareness. Be aware of your breath. Be aware of the sounds around you. So repeat after me. Breath 1 is awareness.
Breath 1 is awareness.
Breath 2 is relaxation.
Repeat
after me. Breath 2 is relaxation.
Breath 2 is relaxation.
Okay. Do you feel relaxation in any part of your body?
I do.
Where do you feel it and how do you feel it?
I feel relaxed in my lower back, especially.
Okay.
I just feel
Is it
like
a lightness or a heaviness? What is it?
it's like, yeah, I would say a lightness and less tension.
Excellent. Excellent. So repeat after me. Breath 2 is relaxation.
Breath 2 is relaxation.
And that relaxation will kind of flow through your body. Some people will feel a lightness, some people will feel a heaviness. It's different for different people. Now repeat after me. Breath 3 is joy.
Breath 3 is joy.
So do you feel joy anywhere at all?
Yeah, I do. I feel joy in my heart.
Okay, and how do you feel that?
I would say like an expansive feeling.
Excellent.
Feels big.
Okay. And for most of the people, right, people who are trying this first time, Kyle's been doing meditation for a long time, so he kind of feels the joy right away. It's not necessarily for, but most of you, right, you'll get something by the end of this session. So take it back to the top. The first breath is step 1 is awareness. Repeat after me. Step 1 is awareness.
Step 1 is awareness.
Step 2 is relaxation.
Step 2 is relaxation.
Step 3 is joy.
Step 3 is joy.
So feel free to close your eyes and then just be aware of the breath coming in, coming out. Can you visualize your breath coming through your nostrils in and out, Kyle?
I can't visualize it, but I can feel it.
Okay. So can you sense it coming from your nostrils in and out?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yes.
good. Can you hear yourself breathe?
Yes.
Okay. So for most people, those are the 3 modes. Some of them can visualize that breath, some of them can hear the breath, and some of them can feel the breath. Have a little smile on your face. And the best way to do is grin first, like show me all your teeth, and then just bring it to a slight relaxation. Awesome. And in your mind, keep going. Breath 1 is awareness. Breath 2 is relaxation. Breath 3 is joy. Zero to 10, how relaxed are you?
I'd say an 8.
Okay. And 0 to 10, how much joy do you feel?
8.
Okay, awesome. That's pretty good. Yeah, you've been practicing your meditation, I can tell. And for most of you, if you're 0 to 6, that's fine. Just allow it. And every time your mind drifts away, just bring it back. That's the important thing. It's not that your mind never loses it. It's just saying, my mind has drifted away. Be gentle, be kind, bring it back. Step 1 is awareness. Breath 2 is relaxation. Breath 3 is joy. And if you want to focus on joy, that's fine. Some people feel love, some people feel calmness. It doesn't matter. It's just being aware of that state. Breathe in, breathe out. 0 to 10, how relaxed are you, Kyle?
9.
Nice. Okay, so gently open your eyes and look at the screen and read after me. May I be happy and peaceful.
May I be happy and peaceful.
May I be free from fear and suffering.
May I be free from fear and suffering.
May I live with love and compassion.
May I live with love and compassion.
May I fully awaken and be free.
May I fully awaken and be free.
Put your palms on your heart. Both palms or one palm, doesn't matter. Or you can do a namaste, putting your palms, either one works. Then I want you to think of somebody you love unconditionally. It could be a parent, it could be a spouse, anybody you pick. Think of them. Can you see that person in your mind's eye?
Yes.
Okay. Can you hear them say, I love you or anything like that?
Yes.
Okay. And in your mind's eye, can you hug them or touch them or kiss them?
Yes.
So now bless that person. May you be happy and peaceful. May you be free from fear and suffering. May you live with love and compassion. May you fully awaken and be free. Feel the blessings go from you and to that person and feel that coming back. May you be happy and peaceful. May you be free from fear and suffering. May you live with love and compassion. May you fully awaken and be free. So tell me how that feels. Does that feel a lightness? Describe how those blessings are going from you to that person you're thinking about.
Yeah, I would say a lightness, and I would say that the joy is getting bigger.
Excellent, excellent. So that's the goal. You're getting me there. Feel that joy. Okay, feel that joy. Now, as you send the blessings, understand that they love you too, right? And they're sending you back blessings. So maybe be happy and peaceful. Say that with me. Maybe be happy. Repeat after me. Maybe be happy and peaceful.
May we be happy and peaceful.
Maybe be free from fear and suffering.
May we be free from fear and suffering.
Maybe live with love and compassion.
May we live with love and compassion.
May we fully awaken and be free.
May we fully awaken and be free.
And send those blessings. Now let's pick, randomly, let's pick up some listeners who are listening to us and we'll send blessings to them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Maybe be happy and peaceful. Maybe be free. You don't have to repeat after me. You can just enjoy that.
Okay.
Keep your eyes closed and, pretend that they're in front of you and you're telling that to them. Does that make sense?
Yes. I'm imagining the audience of people that are listening.
Yep, your audience, and you can pick one or two people, or you can pick the whole bunch of, 75 people who log on to this. I have a sense of fun and joy. Okay, meditation is not meant to be serious; it's meant to be lighthearted. May we be happy and peaceful. May we be free from fear and suffering. May we live with love and compassion. May we fully awaken and be free. Do you feel the joy that's coming out of doing this meditation?
Yeah. Yes. And I really like the exchange of energy, not only just giving it, but imagining it coming back. And it's
Exactly.
this
You're an enlightened soul, Kyle. May
yes.
we be happy and peaceful. May we be free from fear and suffering. May we live with love and compassion. May we fully awaken and be free. So, Kyle, since you're done meditation, I'm going to do a bonus round with you. Okay, I can imagine the whole world. Okay, you're sending it to the whole world, and then feel the whole world blessing you back and accepting that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
May all beings be happy and peaceful. May all beings be free from fear and suffering. May all beings live with love and compassion. May all beings fully awaken and be free. Just allow the blessings to go all over the world and then feel them coming back. May all beings be happy and peaceful. May all beings be free from fear and suffering. May all beings live with love and compassion. May all beings fully awaken and be free. Go at your own pace. You don't have to follow this. Just allow the blessings to go all over the world and come back. May all beings be happy and peaceful. May all beings be free from fear and suffering. May all beings live with love and compassion. May all beings fully awaken and be free. Now, can you feel that joy inside you? Is that still a 9 out of 10, Kyle?
I would give it a 10.
Oh, wow. Okay. So now build that up, right? So may I be happy and peaceful. Say after me. May I be happy and peaceful.
May I be happy and peaceful.
May I be free from fear and suffering.
May I be free from fear and
Fear and suffering. May I live with love and compassion.
May I live with love and compassion.
May I fully awaken and be free.
May I fully awaken and be free.
Excellent. Rub your palms together. Cover your eyes. Gently massage your eyes. And stretch your hands up like you're yawning. And then let go. How was that? Talk to us about it. Tell us a little bit about it. How was it?
Yeah, that was really great. And again, I really like the that interaction of energy, feeling it going out, but also feeling it come back. I feel like that's a powerful meditation that I haven't experienced before, and I think it has some real kick.
So that's the funny thing, right? You keep saying you're not good at visualizing. You just did that visualizing.
That's
right?
true.
So, for example, right, I'm going to ask you to think of a red sofa. Can you think of a red sofa?
Yes.
Okay, now close your eyes. Can you see what color is the sofa?
It's red.
Open your eyes. Do you understand? Yeah. Somehow you're able to visualize it. You may not see it like a red sofa, but the visual cortex, they say, right, about 70% or 60% of the brain is dedicated to visualization.
Huh.
Because they are hunters and gatherers, right? So we picked a fruit and we could tell by the color whether it's a poisonous fruit or not, correct? So visualization, and then if you're hunting for the prey, we are able to see the prey pretty well, right? So there are a lot of things that our brain is designed. The visual cortex is an amazing thing. So anyway, I interrupted you. So tell me more. What did you feel that relaxation turn to joy? How was that for you?
Yeah, I think I had like I said, I kind of had that expansive feeling in my heart, and a lightness feeling. I also, so back to the visualization thing, I did picture at the end when we were saying, imagine the whole world,
right.
Sending love and compassion and and all the things that we said, happy and peaceful, and sending all of that to the whole world. I pictured the whole world, and I pictured going around the whole world and giving those blessings. So I am a little I am better at the visualization than I think. I just don't have like a vivid visual.
That's different. Everybody's different, right? Everybody's different, right? When I was a kid, right, I had a photographic memory. So in the notes, I could even look at the ink stains, right? I could remember the ink stains on that. So everybody's different, right? Everybody is different in that. But hey, to the people who are listening to it, please, what Kyle experienced is not necessarily a typical response. He's already had many years of meditation, so he got to that state pretty quickly. Now, not all of you would get to that state, but listen to this podcast again, and then I'll provide some links also separately, so that.
And what I've also noticed too is doing it, making it a daily practice is really important. That if I would go 3 days in a row, and then I'd skip 2 days, and then I feel like I'm starting over then on that next day. It's not like I think keeping that practice allows you to get into that state quicker and kind of hold it longer, I guess. That's my experience anyway. And
you're absolutely right. Any habit, right? You practice it regularly. And that's what, we can provide these links. I'll do definitely go to my website, meditationmagic.com, and and you can search for these keywords in the blog, easy way to start meditating daily, and some misconceptions about meditation. There are lots of courses. And then in Vimeo, I have that link called Finding Joy in Uncertain Times. There are a lot of short meditations, and it's 20 minutes long. And then in terms of the books, definitely check out John Kabat-Zinn. Wherever you go, there you are. It's a great book.
I've heard of this one. I haven't read it yet, but I've heard it's a really
It's a
great
great book. I mean, I watch his videos, and also I listen to, I read the books, and you should check it out if you haven't.
I will, yeah, definitely.
And then if you're the geek, right, if you're like me, you want to understand the neuroscience, Richie Davidson. Richie Davidson is a professor at University of Wisconsin-Madison. And you should make that trip, Kyle, sometime to Madison.
Yeah.
They've got a very good program there. I'm a total fan of Richie Davis, and his greatest book is Altered Traits. And see, we've done a lot of study on neuroscience, right? But still, brain is a complex thing. We don't have all the answers, right? But that's a very good book. It's very practical in terms of the studies. And Sam Harris, I'm a big fan of Sam Harris. He's a controversial character. His podcasts and articles are kind of funny, but he's very good on meditation. He gets meditation. He understands the power of it. And right now, if you sign up, he's giving 30 days free. And or you can send me an email. I'll make sure you get the 30-day free. Very, very good apps. You started trying that, Kyle, right? His app, Sam Harris's app.
Yeah, I did. I did his 30 days. I saw him speak when he was in Milwaukee, and he gave away I think it was right when he started it was right around the time he started his Waking Up app. And the book Waking Up is a really good book too on the subject that kind of approaches mindfulness without any kind of religious sort of, basically just approaching mindfulness from taking the directions of mindfulness and doing it without any kind of religious connotation attached to it.
And that's a very important thing, right? We are not saying you shouldn't use meditation for religious and spiritual practices. That's not what we are saying. We are saying at the fundamental level, this is a very basic, meditation is a very basic exercise. Right. Like you go walking and running and things like that. If you want to reduce your stress, eat healthy, exercise, right? Those are all givens. And then adding meditation on top of it is a good thing. But we are here talking about it as a very basic mindfulness exercise. That means focus and awareness. That's what we are suggesting. Any other questions, Kyle? Talk to me.
Yeah, sure. So let's see here. I took down a couple of notes. So you talked a little bit about how, we have the default network, which is, your prefrontal cortex. And this is kind of, the way I think about it is there's this hamster wheel that's always going in my mind. And it's just it keeps running and running and running. And for me, it's, the mindfulness is getting that hamster to just kind of chill out a little bit, just be, just relax, and I'm wondering, do you know anything about where in the brain that it, what's happening, now you don't have your default mode network work, what's going on there? Do you have?
Okay, so let me do that. So can you see go ahead and make a fist like this, make a fist, put your thumbs inside, make a fist there, right?
Okay.
This is the size of your brain, slightly more than that, but this is the brain, right?
Okay.
So the lower part of the brain, right? This is called, this is the oldest part of the brain. This is called the brainstem. This is what we share with the dinosaurs, right? We have very basic functions there, autonomic functions or heart, lungs, all that operate with the brainstem. Some very basic violent tendencies, possessiveness, all that comes at that part of the brain. That's about 200 to 75 million years old. We share that with the dinosaurs. When you put that thumb inside there, right? You put the thumbs inside, that is called the limbic system. The limbic system, or the paleomammalian brain, right? This goes to about 50 million years ago. This is the first mammals, right? These first mammals started having emotions, love, and things like that. So when they had kids, They knew to protect the kids. That part of the brain came in the limbic system. And I'm oversimplifying the brain function, right?
Sure.
But bear with me.
It's a good, I mean, this is a good way to visualize it, I think, from,
Right.
a layperson's terms, right?
Right. And then the top part of the brain is the neocortex. The neocortex is the brand new part of the brain, right? So guess what? Our primal functions, right? So now then the part of the brain in the front is the prefrontal cortex, right? The part of the brain that's there. That's the executive functions. That's the part of the brain that tells you, hey, I'm going to do something, don't mind, I'm afraid to do it. Okay? Why? Because there's a part of the brain says there's a benefit for that. That's the part of the brain that worries about it. So, right? So we were talking about the visual cortex, right? Our ancestors who are hunters and gatherers, right? Some of our ancestors figured out if they don't worry about the winter, they're going to die, right? In the summer, they start worrying about the winter and they start packing foods.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because the prefrontal cortex has this ability to visualize and say, hey, in winter, there's going to be snow, there's going to be no food, and that. So, and again, these are hypotheses, right? But we believe that the ancestors who worried were more likely to survive compared to people who said, I'll take care of winter when it comes. And so that's part of the default programming. And
Sure.
there are two parts of it. There's a part of the brain called the amygdala. Amygdala is the one that's the danger part of it, right? It predicts the danger, it gets scared and all that stuff. So for example, you're seeing, you're a hunter and you're seeing a vine hang, and the amygdala responds saying, hey, that could be a snake, right? So fear, anger, all those parts are hardwired, not hardwired, but they're a very important part of our brain. And so the prefrontal cortex, right? We can get practice to overcome that. So if you're afraid of snakes, if you practice again and again and know how to handle snakes, then you're able to bypass the default program that tells you be scared of snakes. And that's why there are herpetologists who know how to handle snakes. Am I giving you a good feel of how the brain is programmed and how we can change the programming?
Yeah. Can you say that last part again? So you're when you're able to be aware that you're afraid of the snakes is when you can sort of, I guess that's the first step to.
Okay, so let me give you another example. So for example, right, airline pilots, right? So airline pilots, they are trained again and again with the flight simulator of all the things that can possibly go wrong. So when they find the fuel is gone, right? Fuel has leaked out or something like that. They've gone through training. So though there's a part of the brain that's afraid of it, they're trained with the prefrontal cortex that they've done the training again and again, that it becomes automatic for them to do the steps they need to do without panicking. And that's the same thing with meditation or mindfulness. When you do that practice again and again, you're able to step back in your awareness and say, hey, I don't have to react to this in this way. I can respond to that.
Gotcha.
And the brain is capable of running those simulations for you till it becomes second nature, not to react, but respond. Gotcha. Is that better? Is that a better example?
I totally get that. Yeah, so that makes sense. So it's basically like almost a rewiring of your brain, essentially.
Bingo! That's what neuroplasticity is all about, right? That's what you. So just because you had lousy relationships in the past doesn't mean your future relationships have to be screwed up, right? You can look back at yourself and say, even with your spouse, right? There are standard ways where we can improve relationships with people. And mindfulness is a very good way to take that step back and say, hey, sometimes, and it's very easy to blame the other person for it, right? If we have anything that goes wrong in any relationship, right, it's the boss's fault, right? But taking that step back and saying, let's put ourselves in the place of the boss and do that. Now, I'm not saying that's appropriate for everything, right? If you're in a relationship where there's physical or mental abuse, don't try to defend that other person, right? Walk away from that. But 80 to 90% of the time, right, when we have relationship challenges, we are contributing to that too. And taking that step back and being aware of that, is going to be helpful. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
And so that's what these all things, regrets and worries, hide reacting, right? These are all these things that this core practice is doing. Building connections, building that compassion for yourself and the other person, being optimistic, if you feel tired, take the break, but then at some point, recharge yourself and go back to that problem. Resilience, all of us face, I'm here giving you this lecture. Why am I giving you this lecture? Because I need it myself, right? I have challenges in my work. I have challenges in my relationships, and I have to go through this stuff. I'm not coming here and saying I figured it all out. No, I'm working through that. These are some tools that I'm using. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. I have a question about, what's this, I guess in Buddhist teachings, they talk about enlightenment. What is enlightenment? Do you have any thoughts on this?
Okay.
Do you consider yourself an enlightened being?
Bang! I know
What
you
is
were gonna ask me that.
enlightenment?
Okay. So I use the word translucence. Okay. I
Okay.
use the word translucent. So um, that means there have been times when I have been in the state of absolute bliss, right?
Yeah.
And that has happened to me. That has happened to me a couple of times where I feel I'm part of the whole humanity, and there's no difference between Kyle and me and everybody else, right? So, but I'm telling you, most of the time I'm the usual jackass who's going through life, right? I'm angry, I'm pissed off, I'm like, sometimes it's everybody else's fault, it's not my fault. But what I see, right, to me, the person who comes closest to that is the Dalai Lama, right? So there's one person who asked him the question, Dalai Lama, when it was your life when you felt totally happy and content with your life? And Dalai Lama looked at him, no hesitation at all. Right now, right now.
Mm.
And, so there are times when I'm like that, right? I'm feeling in that state. And that's, you have felt that. Haven't you felt that after a meditation session where you feel at peace with the world and calmness, right?
Yeah.
Until that somebody else comes and pulls your strings.
Right. Yeah, I felt that, and I felt what you're talking about with did you call it translucence?
Yeah, translucent.
And
Yeah.
I felt that for just I feel like I've just kind of brushed up against it for a very momentary thing. And I'm just like, wow, this is what's possible.
Right.
And I think that's it, and I think that, I got into meditation trying to just kind of enhance, being more in control of my feelings and being able to react to situations and have more control over that kind of stuff. But as I got more into it, I'm finding that that's it right there, is having that right now, like being in this moment is the best thing. That's the only thing, right? And being able to realize, not just on a conceptual level, but like living it, and that's what I strive for. So I'm glad you shared that with me.
And we will definitely, we'll work. I'll start sending you my newsletters, and people who want, send me an email. I'll put you in my newsletter. I do those things. And Kyle, that's the thing, right? It's not only about me, right? My passion comes out of teaching these techniques to people, right? And even the basic hacks, right? We are talking about just the first few hacks, that just feeling that love, joy, and peace on a regular thing. I have students, right, who'd come just to the first class and say, hey, Dr. K, I really slept soundly for the first time in my life and years together, right? Or they'll come and say, I did not react to my spouse. I was kind and compassionate, right? Things like that. Those are those little things that you don't have to be 100% happy, right? There's a book also. It's called 10% Happier.
Yeah.
That's the other Harris, not
Dan Harris. Yeah.
What is that? Dan Harris? Is that Dan Harris, the CBS guy? 10% Happier, right? That's all. And that's a great book. That's another book that I recommend to people. That book is not much on techniques, but it's very good on the story behind meditation.
Yeah.
So did I answer your question there?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Thanks for answering that. So where can people find you? You had some resources up before. You mentioned if people want to email you, they can send you a
Right.
note.
Right.
How can they get in touch with you if they
So
want
the
to?
best one is go to www.meditationmagic.com. By the way, can you see my web page below here?
Yes.
And that's the best place to reach me. Just go there and there'll be a box with a request form. And if you want a copy of my newsletter and want to be added to my newsletter, I no spam, I promise you that, but check that out. You can reach out to me there also. And I'm, looking forward to anybody who has questions. And, hopefully I'm looking forward. Darren, Jen, and I are planning to do some studies, so we'll put that on the website. And if you want to be part of our guinea pigs, you're welcome to do that.
Yeah, I'd love to sign up for that. That'd be fun.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be coming to you on that.
Cool, awesome. And then anything else you want to plug, or any final words of wisdom you want to part in on
Kyle,
our audience?
Thanks for your curiosity. The past 2 weeks has been fun exchanging emails and talking about it. And I would personally recommend, keep doing the meditations, and we'll talk more, with the advanced topics. We should maybe do a 201 brain hacking 201 for people who do 101. But give us your feedback. Tell us, what you liked about this and what you didn't like about it, and we'll be happy to, share that. Maybe we could do a question and answer session next time, right?
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, that'd be great. And
but thanks, Kyle.
Anyone that and likewise, I really enjoyed over the past 2 weeks exchanging emails and getting to know you and preparing for this. And if anyone else wants to hear a round 2, and you want if you have some specific questions you want answered, please share them with me. You can find me at PuckMine on Twitter, and just feel free to DM me on there and let me know what you want to hear. And thanks again for taking the time, Dr. K, and this has been delightful.
Hey, thanks for everybody who listened to this. Hopefully there are more than 10 people who listened to it. But anyway, it was fun. Thanks, Kyle.
Right.
I'm stopping recording right now.
Perfect.